Holy cow, we've been over 24 hours without any snowfall. The sawmill is cleared off for the most part. Just got those plastic pallets that protect it sitting on there. I think I am in the mood today to see if I can get this sawmill started up and maybe mill one or two of those logs sitting next to it. But first I have to make sure I don't have any frost heaves on the bed of the sawmill. This is where having a foundation underneath the sawmill rather than just having it right on the ground would come in handy. Then I wouldn't have to worry about those little frost heaves. Circumstances today, I do not have any foundation underneath the sawmill. I just have it on logs underneath, but they are prone to frost heaves this time of year. So my first setup is to get these pallets off. Now I have seen other people be able to just snap their fingers and everything is done. I'm not sure if it'll work for me, but let's give it a whirl. Well, look at that! It worked. Now, I need to see if I have any of my joints that are where the beds come together, because it's sections of beds. It's not all one big piece. So there's sections, and I need to make sure that there's no heaving or you want it all to be flat, and a level won't work. That's not what you need. You just need a straight edge to go through where the joints are. So, looks like that section down there is going to be better for me right now. This one has a little bit of a dip here. Since the ground is frozen, as it thaws, it's just going to keep moving and changing. And I just have to keep readjusting. I like the looks of that first section where I normally mill anyway. It looks like it doesn't look like it has any problems, so I'll just make sure I'm not doing any really long logs, and it should work just fine. The other thing would be if it's cockeyed this way just a little bit or that way, and I really won't be able to tell until I cut the first board and measure both sides, this side and that side. There's really no way for me to know, because what happens is if it's raised up this way, then the blade runs this way, and it'll cut more off of this side than this side, and it'll just cut the boards uneven. But I really won't know that unless I cut a board and see where I'm at. So I'm going to get this track oiled up, get some transmission oil put on it, get the first run of the year, take the pieces apart on that end and get them all oiled up and ready to go, get all the bearings oiled up and ready to go. I won't show you all of that, it's kind of boring. There we go, I got that all done. Once it starts, we'll see how it idles and stuff. Let's see how it goes. Give her some choke. Oh, I better check the fuel. I don't know where I was at. Oh yeah, I got fuel. than likely I just didn't have any fuel in the fuel line, and I had to get some fuel sucked up just from sitting all winter. And yes, I did check the oil. That was just part of the initial setup that I didn't show anything on video of. But I bet for the rest of the summer, it'll just take a quick turn and it'll start, no problems. And that's it. I've had zero issues with this motor. Thing seems to be working fine on it. I'm gonna get a log loaded on here while the engine's warming up and see if I can make a first cut and take some measurements off of it. And let's try to give you just a little bit of a different angle of view. So here I am, I'm checking the cant with a square just to make sure everything is at a 90-degree angle from the bed and the log, the last cut that I did. So far so good. And a lot of people just think, throw the log on the sawmill and cut it into boards. but there's a lot more that goes along with it, especially when you're dealing with the frost heaves and stuff. I'm checking and I'm making sure everything's set up right, because I want things to go right this summer. I don't want to be messing around with it and readjusting everything. So yeah, right now you're going to see a lot of the squares are coming out, and until I'm comfortable with the saw cutting square cants, I'm just not going to settle for anything. Because I really do want the boards that come off of my sawmill to be square, and you know, nothing's going to be perfect, but I want them to be as good as I can make them, so anybody that gets any lumber from me, they're happy with it. And anytime I'm using it, I don't want to be frustrated when I'm trying to use boards that aren't as good as I possibly can make them. So this is the point where I come to the conclusion that it's just not going to happen. Not yet. I need a little bit more time for the ground to thaw. And this is a little bit disappointing, but it's better to do that than waste the logs. Well, that thing doesn't look bad from here. And, you know, it'd probably be all right for a 6x6 if I was just going to make a 6x6 out of it. But it actually has, well, the deck is twisted. The ground is just too frozen. I was hoping that I could run the mill and get going on some of these logs. But that deck has just a little bit of too much of a twist in it right now. And rather than chasing my tail, trying to tweak the deck, I'm just going to let it thaw out a little bit more so that it can all just kind of level down on itself again and get a good foundation underneath it again, and then start milling, rather than chasing my tail. And every time I come out here to cut, I have to do the same project that takes forever, because you're making sure you have square, not only just with the log. You know, once you get it cut into a cant, you want to make sure it's square with the deck. And I'll be square about halfway down, but up here towards the front, I'm not square. In other words, I'm not a 90-degree angle from here to here. It's got just about a 1/16 of an inch off. And then you get to the middle and it's square. And then you get to this end and it's just a little bit where the bottom has a gap that's about a 1/16 of an inch. And it's just twist. It's not twisting the log, because when I'd flip it and try it again, I would come up with about the same thing. Plus, when you measure from top to bottom, you're getting your measurements on one side of the log and your measurements on the other side of the log are different. And so it's just the deck is tweaked just a little bit. And rather than going through and adjusting that deck and then letting the ground thaw some more and having to readjust it, and I just have to be more patient and wait until all of the ground is thawed underneath it, and then do one set of adjustments for the year, and it'll be fine. I was hoping. I'm really excited to run the mill, but it's not in the cards right now. You can still see there's a lot of water, and that it thaws, and because it doesn't run off, it freezes up again at night. And so it's constantly changing. The ground is constantly changing right now. We're in flux, and I knew better, but I was hoping. I'm just gonna let her sit for a while. This is where having a nice big deck to set the sawmill up on would be a really nice thing, like just the deck of a flatbed trailer without the tires and stuff underneath it, just so you could set that down, get it leveled up on the ground, and then put your sawmill on top of that. And then with the frost heaves, it wouldn't really matter. So it looks like I need to find something else to do to occupy my time. Just a little bit disappointed, but not everything is perfect. And you know, I know there's other people out there with these sawmills, and they're probably going to be able to say, hey, just do this, do that. From my experience, adjusting it and then having to readjust it and readjust it until the ground's totally settled, it's just not worth it. It's not worth wasting logs. It's not worth wasting my time. I can find something else to occupy my time. I have some propane tanks and all of this snow still waiting on the ground, and I am so much in a hurry to get rid of this snow. I am thinking about getting my weed burner out and burning some of this white weeds that I have growing everywhere. It grew all winter long. I didn't do anything with it, and now I am just overloaded with this white weed. I don't know what they call this white weed. It's growing everywhere, but it's very invasive. And it's time to get rid of it. Now that great big ball of light that comes every day, you'd think it'd be getting rid of that snow just a little bit faster, but it's taking its dear sweet time this year. That's all right. Okay. My sense of humor is probably a little bit off for most people. Probably don't understand that I'm just a little bit crazy. So thank you for watching this edition of, well, you have to be crazy to live in Alaska, right? That's what everybody says. You have to be just a little bit crazy. Anyway, thank you for watching this edition of Not So Remote Alaska. And until next time, may God bless and keep each and every one of you. And with that, I am out.